Welcome to the Respectful Divorce Podcast. If you're considering a divorce, it's important to know that you have options for how you divorce. On the Respectful Divorce Podcast, we explore those options and provide advice from divorce professionals. I'm your host, Tim Crouch, and today we're talking with Jennifer Piper, a collaborative divorce attorney in the St. Louis area, about Divorce with Respect Week 2026. Thanks for joining us today, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So let's just begin with kind of some basics. What is Divorce with Respect Week?
Divorce with Respect Week is a national campaign. I actually think it might be international now, I've heard. A national campaign to promote amicable divorces through the collaborative process.
So when we think about divorce, we just generally don't think about the term amicable because everybody thinks a divorce is about fighting. What's an amicable divorce?
An amicable divorce is where two folks come together to work out their disagreements in a much more respectful, calm manner that promotes the entire family and everyone's needs versus each person focusing only on themselves and what they want and trying to get the most from a court. It is a much better, peaceful way for folks and families to resolve their disputes. And it really puts the focus on the family as a whole and the best interest of the entire family versus just one person who might not get more anyway, even if they do go to court.
Yeah. So the collaborative divorce process is an amicable process, right?
Yes. And there's times where feelings may come into play and people may get upset, but we do, part of the process addresses those so that we can help people through those to try to make sure it does stay amicable.
Yeah. I've heard some people say that the mistake people make sometimes is thinking that collaborative divorce is sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya, but it is the furthest thing from that.
It's definitely not that. There are times the whole group might laugh and joke about things, but generally we're not sitting around kumbayaing. We're getting down to business and we're working through what are the issues that your family has and what can we do to address those issues. And there may be individual needs that we address as part of the entire family system.
Yeah, and it can still get very emotional. Divorce is emotional no matter what.
It absolutely gets emotional. There's hurt feelings. There's things that have happened in your life that do come up, or as we're talking about certain topics may be more sensitive. There could be issues with the children. That maybe there's medical issues with the children that we need to deal with. Those are absolutely going to be an emotional topic. Sometimes even just finances can be an emotional topic. And we have the processes set up to address those feelings as well. And if we need to pause to privately address those feelings or whatever is coming up, we can do that as well.
And so part of that, I guess, is because in the collaborative process, you bring specific neutral professionals into the process to help with the emotional communication issues, but also to help with the financial issues, some skill sets that lawyers might have, but there are others who have greater skills in that area.
Yeah, so there is a mental health professional who serves as the coach. They also will often provide emotional support when we're not in a group meeting. And that may be with the two individuals together or maybe with them completely separate. Sometimes we may help get them their own coach if necessary, or they may need just additional mental health services. But the neutral's there to assist with all of that. And they have the training and background in the mental health as well as the training in mediation and the collaborative process. Then we have the child specialist, which can meet with the children and focus more so on specifically the children's issues. And they can help formulate the parenting plan and what the schedule is going to be and addressing any specific needs with the children. They don't have to meet with the kids, but they often do. depends on the child's age and needs. The financial professional who is a neutral, many of those they have the training and background in all of the finances. They also often have quite a bit of tax knowledge. They can be incredibly helpful in finding assets and explaining tax consequences, especially if there are some assets that might be a little more complicated, like a trust or a business. They can absolutely help explain that. They can also be really helpful when maybe one person doesn't have the financial savvy or knowledge. Maybe they just don't even have the information. They understand it, but they don't have the information. The financial neutral is going to help gather all of that information and explain all of that information and answer any questions about it.
Now, some people might look at this and go, got all these professionals in it. This gets really expensive, but not compared to litigation, right?
Litigation is substantially more expensive. It may seem like this is expensive because, yes, we're talking about a lot of professionals and they do have to all get paid. But when you're in litigation, the fees and costs will skyrocket immediately. And a lot of the times you end up with similar experts as well. Or you might, one side may hire a financial expert, then the other side has to hire a financial expert, and now we're paying for it twice. Or there could end up being multiple counselors involved, and then we're paying for it twice. Sometimes the attorneys are doing additional work that the other folks might have been doing otherwise. So at the end of the day, I think it ends up saving money.
Yeah. And attorneys bill at a much higher rate than these neutral professionals, right?
Yes, we do. I think almost all of them do.
So for you, what led you to practice in the collaborative divorce world?
I came from a background, a child of divorce, and my parents did not do it even remotely amicably. I remember being drugged to the courthouse. I remember how awful it was. I've dedicated my practice to trying to avoid that for families. And that would be even if I am in the litigation, even if we're doing litigation, even if we're not trying collaborative, I'm still going to try to keep your case as amicable as we can, because that's always going to be in your best interest. It doesn't mean we're not going to fight hard, but we can still do things amicably. But it's a better way for the family in a long run. And I do not want to do any harm. I don't want to make things worse if possible. And a lot of times litigation is just going to make things worse, even for your own client.
So you're talking about it being better for families. How does it benefit children?
If the children do not have to experience going to the courthouse to be the extreme, but if they don't have to experience all of the tension and just horribleness and name calling, because going to court is terribly stressful. And there's always things that come up that are surprising, or that can upset you, and allegations are thrown at the other one. And that carries over at home. Even if people don't necessarily realize it carries over at home, it does. And the children feel it. And that constant stress, it's not good for them. We have quite a bit of research now that's showing it can actually affect brain development. It will affect every way they handle relationships for the rest of their life. It could end up affecting what they do for a living, in a positive or negative way. I think it's incredibly important to keep the children as far away from that as possible.
So how have you sort of seen this in your career, collaborative, benefit the families, benefit the couple, benefit the children?
At the end of the day, there's almost always mistrust when we're divorcing, almost always. At the end of the day, some of that is still going to exist, but we may actually be able to improve it. And it builds a foundation that you can improve on later. Whereas litigation builds a foundation of more mistrust and more anger and more allegations. So when you go through the collaborative process, we're setting you up on a path to try to keep improving and try to make things better for the family, versus litigation, which is just setting you up to continue making it worse. And if you have children, The issues don't end when they're 18. People often say, well, I just have to go till 18. It's not 18. You have the rest of your life and their life that you're going to spend with these people. You may have graduations, weddings, grandchildren. There's going to be all kinds of events where you're together. And if you've started from a point of doing nothing but insulting the other person or making allegations against the other person in court, people remember that for forever, and they remember those feelings forever, and it can be really damaging for long-term mental health.
So, can anybody divorce using the collaborative process?
I believe anyone can. Sometimes when there's domestic violence, we may need to set up some other protections or be extra careful. And some domestic violence cases may not be appropriate depending what happens. But I think that can be set up, and even with domestic violence, I think it can be set up in a way that can protect everyone. And I believe it can be great for any family.
So during Divorce with Respect Week, you're going to be offering 3 virtual consultations for whoever signs up for it. What can somebody expect in that initial consultation with you?
They're going to learn about the collaborative process. They're going to learn a little more how it works, a little more details. If they have specifics to their case and we're able to give some feedback as to how that would work, we certainly would. We can't always give that just an initial call. It depends what it is. But if there is a specific, maybe there's a mental health issue that you're specifically concerned about, we could talk about different ways that we could address that through the collaborative process. I would also explain other options as well, and why it's better than the litigation route, or why they might not want litigation, and how it could help them and their family overall.
Your website is familyally.com.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Why did you make that the name of your website?
I'm here to help families. I'm not here to destroy them. I want to put families in a better place, on a better road. If there's anything possible we can do to set you up for better long-term mental health and relationships, I absolutely want to do that. I want to be your family's ally to assist you in moving forward.
All right. Jennifer, thanks for joining us on the Respectful Divorce podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you all for joining us today, listening to the Respectful Divorce podcast. This important programming note, Divorce with Respect Week is coming up March 1st through March 8th. During Divorce with Respect Week, you can talk with lawyers, divorce coaches, and divorce financial experts for free to learn more about the divorce process and your options. Simply go to divorcewithrespectweek.com to find professionals near you. Divorce with Respect Week, March 1st through 8th. For more information, that's divorcewithrespectweek.com. I'm Tim Crouch for the Respectful Divorce podcast, reminding you that collaborative divorce is a better way to untie the knot.